What they did is they developed the village with these narrow passageways from the edge of the village right down into the village green, and these are called tures, T-U-R-E-S, tures. And nowadays, although they're not used for sort of herding sheep down into the marketplace, into like the big enclosure of the marketplace, what they do in these tours now is they have lots of little tea shops, antique shops. They're very pretty. They're like little lanes, little narrow lanes, and you can explore them and see if there's anything you like to buy. But it's a very nice little idea, all these little tiny little passageways leading down into the marketplace called tours. So explore a little bit, and also don't forget to go to the church. Now I don't know if the church will actually be open to go inside, because they have been doing some work on the church, and last time I was there a few weeks ago it wasn't open, but it may be open this afternoon, so you go and have a look, and if it is, go inside, and it's lovely inside the medieval church. But outside in the churchyard where the gravestones are there is a doorway on one side of the church which is almost enclosed by two yew trees, two ancient yew trees growing up the sides of the door and almost meeting in the middle at the top. And we always think that Tolkien, you know, J.R. Tolkien, the writer, the academic from Oxford, the writer, he wrote, published Lord of the Rings, did he not? The Lord of the Rings story. And the gates of Moria, we always think he was inspired to write about them by these trees which he knew about on either side of the doorway into the church at Stow. So go and have a look and see what you think. And people like to go and have a look, take a photograph of the trees. They're yew trees, one on each side of the doorway growing up and almost meeting in the middle above the door. So it's nice. So go and have a look at that. Stowbean's holy place, by the way, holy place on the hill, Stow-on-the-Wold. And where you, when you get to the top of the hill, you'll notice all these different roads coming from different directions, because there are 7 roadways which converge on the top of the hill at Stow. So it was an important marketplace because it was so accessible. You know, you could get to it from 7 different directions, including this Roman road, the Old Foss Way, which went right over the top and down on the other side. So it really was very accessible, hence it was an important market for sheep in the olden days. They still have their weekly market, but just a general market in the market square every week. They still have their annual fairs. There are 2. There's one in May and there's one in October. So 2 fairs a year where people get together. They used to trade sheep, they don't anymore. Then it turned into horse fairs, and that got a bit boisterous because it used to attract a lot of travellers, and they've stopped that now as well. So they just have 2 sort of general fairs each year, one in May, one in October, and then, as I say, the weekly market, which takes place in the marketplace. And when we were driving past Oxford this morning and I was introducing the Civil War to you, the English Civil War, I did mention that the last of the Civil War battles took place at Stow. The Battle of Stow, it was called, in March 1646, and that was a battle where the Royalists lost, and so the Royalist soldiers under the command of Sir Jacob Astley, they were defeated by the parliamentarian troops at Stow, and 1,000 Royalist soldiers were then corralled as prisoners in the churchyard. And when you go in the churchyard, if you do that, you'll see a little memorial stone there on the edge of the grass, and it tells you that the Battle of Stow, and 1,000 soldiers were kept prisoner by being corralled into that churchyard. And it was really that battle when Charles I knew the game was up. He knew that he was going to lose the Civil War, and it was only a few weeks later in May 1646 that he actually surrendered formally